Today we're going to look at Amoghasiddhi, the Green Buddha, who's associated with action and with fearlessness. So this week we've been looking at the five Buddha mandala, the different Buddhas that are there in the Tibetan tradition, which are in my tradition as well. And yeah, I'm trying to kind of what I want to try and do is to be what's the word, congruent or something, you know. So like what I'm saying needs to be reflected in my experience, so yeah. So today's topic, in a way, is things like fearlessness and action, and you know, I started doing this last week, and I've committed myself to just keep going through the coronavirus crisis. So there's some fearlessness there that I've just set a benchmark. So right, I'm just going to do this for now until it's not, you know, until things have eased or whatever. So that throws up all sorts of things, you know. So it throws up self-orientated thoughts like, oh, you know, why did I say that? And you know, kind of, will I be able to get up every morning and just prepare and then do a decent class and all that? Yeah, but I think there are various themes with each of the Buddhas, and so I think one of the themes of this Buddha, Amoghasiddhi. So Amoghasiddhi is the Green Buddha, and it's something about it. It's like his name means successful action. So it's successful action in the world, bringing things about in the world. You know, so in a way, it's about bringing our insides outside. You know, bringing our positive mental states into the world. Now, what happens often is, like, we try and bring our positive mental states. We develop our positive mental states in the privacy of our own home and meditation practice, and then we go out into the world, and the world just messes around with them, you know, just messes it all up for us. But that's what has to happen. It's like, well, you know, that's what does happen. So to have infallible success, we need to be able to be a bit. I remember a friend of mine, Dhiramati, talking about Mercury, the Greek god Mercury, and he's the messenger from the gods to the humans. You know, he's the one with the winged boots on, and so he brings what the gods represent is higher mental states or bigger perspective, that sort of thing. He kind of brings that into the world. So it's like, you know, I need to be kind of fearless in the way that I bring things into the world, and don't just like hide or give up or whatever, you know. So yesterday I you know, we've had about something like 3,000 views so far on Facebook Live with the different videos, and I thought, well, yeah, that's nice, but it's not really reaching all that many people in terms of how many people there are out there who are in need of something. So along with a friend who's on these meditations, been trying to think of what I can do, you know. So yesterday, with his help, I contacted the Manchester Evening News to try and kind of get an article into that to publicise this, and then I thought, well, why not go for the Guardian? So I emailed the Guardian and the Observer, and then he said, I'll give him a ring later on to see if they got it. So I found myself 5 o'clock ringing the Guardian news desk, well, you know, it's like you do something like that, and it's like you go, did I do that? Or did I just do that? And it gives you an increasing sense of confidence at each action that you do. So the actions that we do when we express our values in the world, lead to greater confidence, lead to greater fearlessness as well, you know. So I know a guy who sort of says fear fades with action, fear fades with repetition, fear fades with devotion, with prayer, you know, with kind of asking for help from powers greater than ourselves, that sort of thing, or you know, the people we look up to. Yeah, so I think like this, you know, putting our insides outside is something we can all try and do and share. So I'll do a bit of that now to exemplify it. So basically, I live on my own, and lots of my Buddhist friends have, you know, don't live on their own. They're living in communities, or they're living with partners and things like that, and children. And so yeah, the thought of like just carrying on, having no, you know, human contact face to face, apart from when I go to the shops. I mean, I went to the shops yesterday, and I was really pleased that people were actually doing that, standing 6 feet apart from each other in the queue for the supermarket and stuff. So it's great that people are being taking responsibility there, you know. But yeah, you know, I'm on my own basically here. I've taken on this responsibility of doing this and more. I'm trying to put the videos onto YouTube, and you know, it's a bit of an effort. I'm getting a bit tired with it, you know. And it's challenging me. It's like I need to. How do I get beyond this? How do I dig deeper or something? And I am in a kind of support program thing, which is all about action, which is about doing actions and being accountable to people, and getting out of kind of proverbial cave, you know. So I have a tendency to hide and to not be visible and to not shine and receive, you know. I found it hard to bring to accept payment when I've done something, when I've done, you know, when I've been of service to people, and it's part of my background psychology that came up as a child. I didn't really learn how to be that emotional in the world, you know, or to cope with emotions difficult. So I've stayed a little bit of a child or something. So saying that is good, you know. I'm sort of I'm admitting to, I'm putting something that's on the inside outside, and you know, it's not about identifying with any one thing. It's about keeping doing the actions that are going to bring about well-being in the world for yourself and others. So if I'm hiding and not bringing my talents and skills and knowledge out into the world, then that isn't doing anybody any good, and it isn't doing me any good either, because what happens when you do one action, it tends to cut a groove into your life that you tend to makes it easier to do that the next time, you know. So every time I hide, then hiding the next time becomes easier. Every time I take a risk and do something a bit scary, I'm creating a groove that makes that more possible. Yeah. So I did think that I'm involved with Manchester Buddhist Centre in the UK, and I've been having a thought. So here's me putting something inside outside again. I've been having a thought that it would be great if some of the Tree Ratna Buddhists, you know, around the movement, were doing something around, you know, to help, either doing your own, you know, videos or whatever, or helping get this one out there somehow, or get this series out there. And it would be a way of working together. It would be a way of me being less isolated, and you know, and more would happen, you know. So it's all right me doing this, but there's a limited amount I can do. So if there were more people involved, then more would happen. There'd be more success, and there'd be a better feedback loop. So so I'm just inviting you to think about that, and maybe talk about that to your friends. That kind of just considering this is an opportunity. It's not an opportunity for developing our businesses and promoting ourselves. It's an opportunity for doing service to the world and putting our fears to one side, doing it for everybody, not just for ourselves, not just to boost our businesses or whatever. Yeah, or our Buddhist centres. Okay, so I've said a little bit about 15 minutes about the theme, and it's always good to not just kind of just force ourselves to just sit still, listening, and then meditating, and do more listening. So we do lots of that in Triratna Buddhist community. We do loads of meetings, sitting down, listening, meditating, and hardly any body work. So it's not realistic that we need to look after our body at regular intervals. We need to stop, and we need to stimulate it, get relaxed and everything, and then go back to the activity we're doing, because it needs to be a vehicle for us. So Amoghasiddhi is flying. The image is he's flying through the air, and he's on a chariot, and he's being pulled by these strange beasts, strange like animals, which are half human and half bird, and they're clashing cymbals together, and it's like saying, "Yeah, wake up! Wake up, for Christ's sake, wake up," And so we need to be waking ourselves up, and then we've got some energy to use with our skillful activity, going out into the world, our helping people. So that's it, yeah. So if you want to stand up, we'll do a little bit of body work, and then after that we'll do some meditation. All right then. So begin by just standing for a minute and just feeling the contact of your feet with the ground. As I've said before, when we work with the body, we need to take our time, we need to wait, and it works at a slower pace than our mind. So the tendency is to just want to rush through it, get through it, and then sit down and meditate. But so just, yeah, being in contact with your breathing and your feet on the ground. And then just begin to just swing your shoulders from side to side. And you're just letting your arms just kind of gently flop against the sides of your body. And having a sense of the impetus for the movement starting in your foot, and then it's transmitted up your leg through your knee to your hip, and then your hip is the thing that pushes your body round to one side and then the other side. So the impetus is from the foot to the knee to the hip. And just having a sense that you're trying to keep your spine as vertical as possible. So you're just imagining that you're rotating around the axis of your spine. And just allow your mind to be quiet. If your mind is busy, it's probably calmed down a lot now if you've just been staying in for days and days. If it is busy though, just imagine putting your thoughts somewhere else, in another room or something, in your imagination. And just feeling the sensations of that are happening in the top of your chest, the front top of your chest, as you do this. What sensations can you notice there? Changing sensations. So we're just trying to just expand our awareness to include more and more of what's happening in the body. Just slowing down a bit more to do that. So when we're doing body work, things like walking meditation or this sort of thing, if we slow down, we can notice even more of what's there, what's going on. Noticing energy in your spine. Noticing any sounds in the background. Noticing how it feels to possess a tongue. And being aware of how your tongue feels in your mouth. How it feels in the back of your throat, where it's attached to the back of your throat. What sensation can you notice on your eyeballs even? How is it to be seeing through your eyeballs with clarity? Or if you may not have good eyes, but just focusing on what the actual experience is. Each time you turn to one side, and like in your mind, just saying hello to that side of the room. Hello. Okay, then just come to a halt, and then just circling gently with your hips forwards, to the left, to the back, to the right. 4 points, deliberate, right, front, left, back, right, front, left, back, just slowly circling. And noticing how it feels to have, how this movement feels in your big toes. And then just putting your hands on your belly, just below your navel, and having a sense of just tucking your arms in a little bit, and bend your knees slightly. And then as you breathe out, just bending your knees. As you breathe in, straighten your knees. So breathing out, going down, breathing in, coming up. And just put your hands out the front, so on the in-breath, bringing them up to your chin, turning them and then taking them down on the out-breath. And then when you're ready, turning them and bringing them up on the in-breath and taking them down on the out-breath. And try to have your body and mind connected, so whatever you're doing, your mind is with it. Your body's not ahead of your mind, and your mind's not ahead of your body. So bringing hands up and bend your knees, taking them down. And just as you do this, just looking at all the parts of your body to see that you're not pushing anything unnaturally, that you're very conscious about the way that you move in your body, and that it is going to be something that is bringing vitality and benefit to your body. So you're not holding it in any unusual way or forcing it in any way, but you're bringing it into awareness. The next time, just keep going past your chin, and then slowly up into the air, reaching upwards, and then down the sides slowly. And then just coming to a stop. And then taking a seat. If you've not been here before, just use a relatively solid chair, or meditation cushions if you want. So I'm going to do the grounding meditation. that we did on day 2. So day 2 I recommend, actually, if you want to recommend a video to people, day 2 is the one. I think that really is a good example of the grounding meditation, and it's had 700 views. I'm really pleased about that. Okay, so so just getting used to this new sitting position. And just letting your body support itself. So what we're looking for with mindfulness of the body is that we're not forcing the body to sit up, or we're not holding it up with an act of will or effort. In the Alexander technique, they talk about just the correct use of the body. The body knows how to sit down and it doesn't need help from the mind to do that. So just let it sit there and kind of don't interfere with it, don't inhibit yourself from interfering with the body. And all you have to do is just to balance your spine so that it takes the bones of the body take the weight. And so your mind and emotions need to be not occupied with your body at all. So now we're just going to make conscious what our situation is. Sort of, in a way, like truth by truth, one thing at a time. So when we make things conscious, often that really helps us to relax and feel reassured, because at least we know what's happening. So the first thing to notice is that we're a human being and we're alive, and our life takes place in time and space. So being aware first of all of time, of all the moments you've experienced in the past. So if you feel a bit drowsy or something, maybe just bring to mind that the shang shang birds, the clashing cymbals, saying, "Wake up." So just slowly letting it dawn on you that you've had a past, and letting it dawn on you that you will have a future, hopefully. So being aware of all the moments of experience in the future. And bringing into focus the present moment, and this is where your life is actually happening. So in a very spacious sort of way, just arriving into the present moment. and including all of your experience, as much of your experience as you can. So that's time. So it's also the case that we exist in, you, me, everyone is existing in space. So taking it in as fully as you can. The fact that you're sitting on the earth. So giving space to space, to the earth, to the universe. So the earth is about 7,000 miles across, and there's a tiny little thin atmosphere. It's about 10 miles thick above our heads, and then you've got vast empty space with astronomical distances between objects. And the earth is covered in vegetation and water, oceans and rivers, ice, mountains, and human constructions like cities and bridges and ships, motorways. And you're at the particular place that you're in right now, so just opening up the space so that you're aware of where you are. The building, or if you're outdoors, wherever that is, the room, the place within the room. Trying to have a sense that you're aware, you're not hiding from your situation, from yourself, from the world. And it's also the case of bringing into awareness in a spacious way the fact that you have a body, which is a physical object, with a particular structure. With three basic parts. You've got bones that support your weight, and you've got muscles that move the body around, and organs that keep the body alive. So just while you're just allowing your body to just sit there without interfering with it, and just balancing it so that the weight goes down through the skeleton and into the ground in the chair or the cushion. And then relaxation is like opening a fist. It's just a physical action, so something a sense that any muscles that are there in your body can just soften. And become longer. So we can sweep through the body with our awareness to consciously try and relax different parts of the body. So taking your attention up to the crown of your head, and just having a wish that the flesh on your skull, on your scalp, becomes soft and loose and long. So if you're picturing the roundness of your head, that imagine that the flesh is lifting off the skull a bit. And it's becoming broader across your forehead. And softening around your eyes and your nose. And your mouth, your jaw, your throat. So you don't have to be saying anything at the moment to anybody. So just let your vocal cords just become quiet. And imagining that the crown of your head is being gently directed upwards by an arrow towards the ceiling, towards the sky, and that the base of your spine is being directed downwards by an arrow towards the centre of the earth, and that your spine is becoming longer and your back becoming wider. And just imagining a cascade of relaxation just passing down your back, just like a waterfall. It's taking any tension down into the earth. And relaxing in your chest area and your belly, around the hips. Imagining freedom appearing in your hip joints, in your knee joints and ankle joints. So that your legs become longer, extending away from the joints towards the feet. Okay, so just sitting anyhow. If you've been sitting in meditation posture and you want to move, that's fine. So I'll just leave a little bit of time for you to come out of that meditation. So, I've talked a little bit at the beginning about Amoghasiddhi and fearlessness and action and the concepts around this dark green Buddha. So I'm just going to say a little bit more about that. So just to recap, the Tibetan Book of the Dead. It's a shame this is always back to front. I don't know how you change that, but it's how it appears on the front-facing camera of an iPad. Yeah, if anyone's got any tips, let me know. Yeah, so Tibetan Book of the Dead is a guide for, well, it's yeah, it's a set of Tibetan teachings which are about how you deal with what happens in any state, really, in any kind of what's called a bardo or intermediate state. So they see meditation as a bardo. It's a state between before you meditate and after you meditate. So everything's an opportunity. So life is a bardo, dreaming is a bardo. So in all situations, in a way, the Tibetans are saying that you have this opportunity to do something in the specificity of that situation. So, you know, you can even, when you try and practice being aware when you're dreaming, or have some sort of awareness of dreams, or even, I suppose, when you wake up, you try and go with the imagery that was there and treat it seriously, not just treat it as maybe a message, a bit like Mercury, you know, the message from the gods, a message from your unconscious about something about yourself. So yeah, so all these, there's 6 bardos, and one of them is what happens after you die, after you physically die. And it's said that you experience this piercing, brilliant, unbelievably bright, clear white light. And this is the white light of reality that's hitting you. You know, it's like the reality that you can wake up to if you are able to. You know, if you really take in that this is this is happening, this has actually happened to me, and I need to like accept it in some way or other. This change has happened. But what happens is we just recoil from that usually, or any things that are just too big, intense. It's too big, you know. So we go, oh no, I can't handle this, and we fall back. And it says that you kind of recoil from it. And then what happens is, in various stages, visions appear to you of Buddhas, firstly peaceful Buddhas, and then wrathful Buddhas, angry Buddhas, and then other figures, and it goes on. And it's said that the peaceful Buddhas are, they are more, they're higher up than the wrathful Buddhas. So peace is on a higher level than anger. Although anger can be helpful to protect peace. So when you've got like Tibetan, Japanese temples with like huge, great 15-foot high figures at the doorway, if you look at the Kamakura art of temple art, you see these massive hewn out of like wood, and they're protecting the space inside from the peaceful space inside from disturbance and that sort of thing. So that sort of energy is helpful sometimes. So yeah, so in the visions you get the peaceful Buddhas, and then you get the wrathful Buddhas, and the Buddhas appear one at a time. And each time a Buddha appears, you get a piercing, intense light from that Buddha that's the colour of the Buddha. So with Amoghasiddhi you get this piercing, intense green light coming towards you. But you also get this other light, more dimmer, smoky, duller light coming towards you from the realm associated with that Buddha, that's almost like the unenlightened equivalent, you know. So it would be the realm that's got a lot of fear in it and that sort of thing. But what happens is we're attracted towards the dull light, and we recoil from the bright light. So in Tibetan Buddhism, when somebody dies, somebody reads the Tibetan Book of the Dead to them, in the idea that maybe they're still there in some way or other, and guides them. So this is what would be read to a person at the point on the 5th day where the vision of Amoghasiddhi comes up. Hey, noble one. So noble one is it just means you've been trying to practice Buddhism in your life. Remember that. You have this noble aspect to you. Listen without wavering. On this 5th day, the green light, that is the purity of the element wind, dawns. At this time, from the green northern Buddha land of Prakuta, the green Lord Amoghasiddhi appears, seated on an eagle throne, carrying a Vajra cross. So Vajra is a symbol of reality, but a Vajra cross is 2 of them crossed. In union with his consort Samayatara. So Samayatara is up there. Attended by the male bodhisattvas Vajrapani, so wrathful Vajrapani, a bit like the temple deities, and Sava Nirvana Viskambin, and the female bodhisattvas Ganda and Natya, a group of 6 Buddha deities in a background of rainbows and lights. The green light of the all-accomplishing wisdom, purity of the creation aggregate, green, piercing, dazzling and clear, adorned with glistening drops and droplets, shines from the heart of the Amoghasiddhi couple, precisely penetrating your heart centre, unbearable to see with your eyes. Not fearing it, knowing it as the natural force of the wisdom of your own awareness, enter the experience of the great unoccupied equanimity, free of attraction to the familiar and aversion to the alien. So pleasure on the one hand, pain on the other, not going to the one or the other, but equanimity down the middle, straight down the middle. At the same time, a soft envy-made light. So envy is the poison associated with Amoghasiddhi, that he transforms. Being jealous of success, doesn't help. Just rejoice in success in others, it helps. Envy-made red light of the Titan realm shines upon you, together with the wisdom light ray. Meditate upon it with attraction and aversion in balance. If you are of inferior mind, which means you can't just take this in straight away, do not indulge in it. At that time, under the influence of fierce jealousy, you panic and are terrified by that brilliant, piercing green light, and you flee it in alarm. You enjoy and are attached to that soft red light of the Titan realm, and you approach it. But at that time you must fearlessly recognize that brilliant green, piercing, dazzling, clear light as wisdom. Upon it relax your awareness in the experience of transcendence with nothing to do. Or, again, pray and increase your love for it, thinking, it is the light ray of the compassion of Lord Amoghasiddhi. I take refuge in it. It is the all-accomplishing wisdom, the light ray of the tractor beam of the compassion of Lord Amoghasiddhi. Have faith in it. Don't flee it. If you flee it, it still will not leave you. Do not fear it. Don't be enticed by that soft red light of the Titan realm. It is the path of destruction from the negative evolutionary actions you have committed through your powerful jealousy. If you cling to it, you will fall into the Titan realm. So the Titans are jealous gods, so it's a competitive world of business, all that sort of thing. So Amoghasiddhi holds, is about bringing us towards, in a way, serving the right goals, serving all beings really, not our own, not competition. If you cling to it, you will fall into the Titan realms. You will experience the intolerable suffering of interminable fighting. So the jealous gods are just fighting each other all the time. Like in the stock market, for instance. Without clinging to it, abandon your instinct for it. Don't long for it. Have faith in that dazzling bright green light. Aim your one-pointed willpower towards the Lord Amoghasiddhi couple and make the following prayer. When through intense envy I wander in samsara on the luminous light path of action accomplishing wisdom, may blessed Amoghasiddhi go before me, his consort Samayatara behind me. Help me to cross the bardo's dangerous pathway and bring me to the perfect Buddha state. So by praying in this way with intense faith, you'll dissolve into rainbow light in the heart of Lord Amoghasiddhi, the Lord Amoghasiddhi couple, and you will go to the northern Pure Land, Prakuta, and attain Buddhahood in the body of perfect beatitude. So I think those verses, the Bardo verses, are so we can reflect on things in a kind of mundane sort of way about fear and fearlessness, but this is something being transmitted on a much higher level. It's like a real transcendental level, of this choice we always have between going towards the more intense, but actually life-affirming, life-giving, enlightened qualities of a Buddha, or the more familiar, smoky light or dull light. So when it comes to action, it's like, do we act in towards the world and just do what needs to be done for everybody and get out there and help, or do we sort of get into he's doing better than me, I better maybe I'll not try, because I'll never be as good as that. So it's like envy gets in the way of us actually doing what needs to happen. And yeah, so one of the things that we can think in terms associate Amoghasiddhi with is things like ritual. So in a way, ritual and religion. So a ritual is a symbolic action. So when we go up to bow to a shrine, or we recite some verses, or we offer a stick of incense to the Buddha, or we do whatever we do in our own religion, it's like we're kind of, it's almost like we're taking a risk, we're putting ourselves out there, and we're putting our values out there and saying, this is what I believe in. So when we express something externally, it makes it more visible, but it also, in a way, it kind of reinforces it for us. It helps us to put it on the agenda. So this is why Buddhists do devotion. They're trying to remind themselves of their own values. And I've just got a reading from Sangharakshita, who founded the movement I'm part of, and I'm considered as my main teacher and inspiration in a way. So everything that I appreciate about Triratna Buddhism, which is things like just the people are amazing, the friends I have and all that, are all here because he chose to come back to Britain and start teaching meditation in a basement in Covent Garden, and have the commitment to keep going with trying to bring Buddhism into actual being, not to study it and intellectually, but to bring the real thing into being. And he's got a statement which is, he's putting his values out there and saying, this is what I believe. So I'm just going to read this out, and then we can finish. So just let your mind quieten down a little bit. So this is from a talk that he gave in Bombay, probably in the 1950s. Some people say that Buddhism is just an Eastern religion. This is what some Christians in the West say. They say that because Buddhism is an Eastern religion. It cannot be understood and practiced by people in the West. Such Christians forget that Christianity itself is of Eastern origin. But Buddhism is, in fact, not an Eastern religion. It's a universal religion. Even though it originated in India, it spread over the whole earth. Buddhism can be understood and practiced anywhere in the world, because Buddhism addresses itself to the individual human being regardless of race, nationality, caste, sex or age. Buddhism is, therefore, the religion of man. And this is one of the reasons why I'm a Buddhist. I believe that humanity is basically one. I believe that it is possible for any human being to communicate with any other human being, to feel for any other human being, to be friends with any other human being. This is what I truly and deeply believe. This belief is part of my own experience. It is part of my own life. It is part of me. I cannot live without this belief, and I would rather die than give it up. To me, to live means to practice this belief. Therefore, this belief is part of my religion. It has nothing to do with the way in which I dress, nothing to do with what I call myself. It is a matter of the way I am, the way I exist. It is the way I naturally function in the world. This is what religion really is. It is what you most truly and deeply believe. It is what you are prepared to die for. It is your life. It is what makes you what you are. It is what makes you behave in the way that you do. Religion is therefore a very important thing. In fact, it's the most important thing. So, whatever religion or set of beliefs you might have, so it might be that your religion is something like secular humanism. You know, you believe that, you know, we should all be kind with each other and help each other out and all that sort of thing. So everybody chooses their own religion, and ideally they should be doing, and then that becomes their set of values through which they operate. So thinking that, you know, all beings are of equal value and need our attention, and we can be in relationship to them, is what Buddhism is aiming at, is talking about. So on the I felt it was really nice to share a bit of my life earlier in the week when I talked about a friend of mine, Jinananda, who died a couple of years ago, who was a brilliant author. So I just want to mention somebody else today, and on the Facebook Live Facebook page I'll put something which this friend of mine did. So this is Maharatnajyoti, and this is Buddhafield Festival is there. So Maharatnajyoti was this amazing character, really. I mean, he was the opposite of somebody who's intellectual. It was like he couldn't stand anything to do with reason and rationality, you know. And he used to help me a lot, like with my emotions, and he used to say, as long as I know how I'm feeling, then I'm all right, you know, no matter what that is. And he suffered quite intensively with epilepsy, and he would have a fit, and then he would be out of it for half the day and stuff, and it would really affect him strongly. But he used to do dream workshops at the Buddhafield Festival, and just get us exploring our dream life, you know, what dreams we had and all that. And he was like a shaman, really. He was very shamanic, and he used to do Tai Chi sword form, which was like Tai Chi but using a sword, and he would do that in the field, you know, among all the tents and everything, and early in the morning. And yeah, so I just mentioned all this because in 2002, I mean, I can't remember when he died. It might have been about 6 or 7 years ago or something. But in 2002, he wrote a puja or devotional text to Amoghasiddhi, which is fantastic, really beautiful. And so I've shared that in the on the Facebook page. So yeah, so please have a look at that and just read the poetry and reflect on the poetry. Okay, so so that's all for today. Gone on a bit longer today. That's an hour and 10 minutes, so that's good. Yeah, the more we can do, the better, really. So good luck today, and just remember a few things. So that idea of like putting your insides on the outside, you know, sharing how you're doing, you know, having the courage to reach out for help if you need it. You know, that was one thing we talked about. Look after your body. Do some. Maybe look at this again if you want to do the body work again. I think what I did with the body work was make it quite smooth, and so as we spend more time indoors, it's like our energy will be calming down a bit. So it's like maybe what we need is more smoother kind of movement, and more mindful, you know, kind of smooth movement rather than vigorous movement. So our mind and body and emotions all coming together. We're kind of looking after ourselves and keeping everything going in a good way. So I think that's it for today. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at the white Buddha in the centre of the mandala, Vairocana, the illuminator. So white is the colour of centrality in Buddhism, and he teaches and is the supreme wisdom. So that's tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Bye.